Well, will we be hypnotized by the next album? It's Notorious B.I.G, Life After Death. In the opening montage, you heard Hypnotize, and now you're going to hear Notorious Thugs.
Armed and dangerous, ain't too many get bang with us. Straight up, we no angel dust. Label us notorious. Thug ass niggas that love the bus. It's strange to us, y'all niggas be scrambling, gambling. Up restaurants with mandolins and violins. We just sitting here trying to win, trying not to sin. High off weed and lots of gin. So much smoke, need oxygen.
Okay, Matt, what are the stats?
Life After Death by the Notorious B.I.G. comes in number 356 in the 1990s on Best Ever Albums, number 35 in 1997, number 1,985 of all time. It's Notorious B.I.G.'s second highest rated album behind 1994's Ready to Die, which we covered in a previous episode. Life After Death did not make Rolling Stone's list, and Notorious B.I.G. ranked number 309 of overall artist rankings on Best Ever Albums.
Okay, this album came out March 25th, 1997. We did talk about his first album, Ready to Die, on Season 4, Episode 28, so go back and listen to that review. He was born Christopher Wallace, May 21st, 1972, in Brooklyn, New York City. He died March 9th, 1997, at the age of 24. This is his second and final album, and it was released 16 days after he died. The genre is rap, gangsta rap, or East Coast rap. Influences: Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Heavy D, Slick Rick, NWA, Gangstar. Similar artists: Big Pun, Tupac, Jay-Z, Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, 50 Cent. Mo Money, Mo Problems was number 1 for 2 weeks on the Hot 100. And Life After Death, Born Again, which was a posthumous compilation, and Greatest Hits, all were number 1 on the Billboard 200. Oh.
Is someone scoring the track right
yeah,
here?
What is that?
Yeah.
I feel like I was in a DJ Khaled
Sorry,
song.
I had the phone off.
DJ Khaled! Oh!
Mixtape. Yeah, Mo Money, Mo Problems was number 1 off of this album for 2 weeks on the Hot 100, and Greatest Hits were all, and Life After Death, Born Again, and Greatest Hits were all number 1 on the Billboard 200. Some fun facts about this album: the album was planned to be released multiple times earlier than when it was, but he had a car accident in September 96 that pushed it back. Biggie said he was aiming to reach a wider audience with this album, collaborating with more artists and different sounds as a result. Multiple producers on this album: DJ Premier, Havoc of Mobb Deep, RZA, and others, Puffy as well. Q-Tip submitted a beat to Biggie for this album, which he liked, but the album was already finished, and so then Q-Tip used it on his album, Tribe's 98 album, The Love Movement. And in February of 97, Biggie traveled to the West Coast to promote the album and shoot the Hypnotize video. And then on March 9th, he was shot 4 times in a drive-by and later pronounced dead at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA. So this is all we have in terms of official studio albums. We covered Ready to Die. Let's start with Matt. And what did you think of the double album, Life After Death?
Boy, is it a double album, man. It's like, this is like All Eyes on Me, you know, like two plus hours of music goodness. I first have to say, like, it's interesting. This album so reminds me of a buddy of mine from college that would play this all the, like, I felt like I knew half of this record. You know,
he would just play both double albums.
What's that?
He would just play the whole like double album.
I don't remember. Here's the thing. I never remember sitting down like him playing the entire album. I just remember like songs being put on here or there, like me walking into the room, and he probably was a guy too that just like played the same songs that he liked over and over again. I could see him skipping over stuff. So it was just like, it was a little trip down memory lane. Like, it very much.
I just hear
of...
walking past Matt Storm and hearing like, slicker than you ever, and then like, over and over and over again.
Yeah. He loved it. He loved this stuff. Good old Frank. So I mean, it's a similar take to the first record. I memean, I'm going to start on the positive stuff. I mean, there's some excellent tracks on here. Like, I think right off, Somebody's Gotta Die is a great like opening. I love that. And there's a couple of songs on here that kind of sound similar to that. Like track 11, like, you know, the word you can't say but bleed, and word bleed, like that. There's a similar vibe there. There was another one on the second CD. I can't really think of what it was, but it's kind of like this menacing, like ominous, violent kind of, like call to arms almost, right? Like this is what happens on the street. So like lyrically it's like, geez, it's pretty bleak, it's scary, it's like really dark, but like musically it's cool as hell, right? It just I love that vibe, that sound, and it's a great beat. And then you got obviously Biggie rapping over it, and we've talked about that before with his first record, just how his flow is so great. I think his voice is just so unique, like this deep voice. There's like a thickness to it. There's like this, it's almost like a speech impediment kind of. There's a weird kind of very distinctive
I think it was due to his weight, probably, honestly.
Right, it could have been. Yeah, exactly. Right. He was just like, that's just kind of like with all the all the weight behind him, he's just that's how it just comes out. But it makes for a really cool, a rapper that just he commands your attention, like
right.
when he comes in. So Hypnotize, what a great, I forget what exactly is that, what the sample is there, but it's awesome. It's a great bass line. It's a great production there. The Fuck You Tonight song, I didn't realize, I knew that song. That was one of the songs that my buddy Frank would play a lot. And I was just like rolling my eyes, because he just got into that. But I was like, oh, of course that's R. Kelly. Like, I didn't know that before, that's like R. Kelly on that as well. But yeah, there's some really good stuff on here. I would say that Biggie's definitely a better rapper than he is singer. I kind of laughed at a couple of songs that he's trying to sing at, like Another. Mm-hmm. Right, where he's singing, and
what would you do if your girl was untrue?
I need a nut. Yeah, and it's almost like the joke is, Biggie, you can't sing. Like, let's put you on there and like kind of really emphasize that. And they do it even more so because there's the backup vocal that's like, another bitch. Like they're purposefully like cracking their voices and and not singing terribly well. So that those parts made me kind of laugh. But yeah, it's long. It's too long. You could easily cut off a number of songs on here. The highs are very high, but it's similar to like the first album in how like, geez, it's just like a very this genre, Biggie in particular, within this genre, it's very bleak. It's very raw at times. But there's also plenty of humor peppered throughout here. There's with some misogyny and homophobia thrown in there as well. Like, a couple things that, you kind of wonder exactly how he really landed on some of those things. Like, was he joking? Was this something that was still kind of very much in the forefront? Whether it be the misogyny, homophobia, what have you, but it is what it is. It's certainly part of the genre, not just Biggie. It's kind of like peppered throughout a lot of gangster rap from the 90s. So, but yeah, it was it took me a while to get through this. I listened to it twice full way through. I think like a lot of these records, I think the first half is better than the second half. I think that tends to be the way that these double albums go. It's interesting, right? The double album where it just gets better as it goes along. I think that's something we haven't really seen a whole lot. Yeah. Well, the thing about it too, if you want to command somebody's attention, you gotta have some of the best stuff up front, because that's a lot of time to sit there and try to wait for the good stuff to come. So, the skits are yeah. Skits, Nasty Boy sketch is just God, yeah. I mean, I will say this: it's not as gross as the one that was on Ready to Die. There was, or was it the Little Kim one? The one to open the Little Kim. Yeah, it's like, oh boy, when you're getting really, graphically, graphic audio on some of that stuff is like, ooh. So some of the skits here are kind of, I don't know.
No, what was the one album that was like? The Tupac album had the most graphic one of all.
Oh yeah, the phone sex one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't. That's that was graphic, but like, I don't know. The when you're hearing this, I'm not even going to describe it. When you're hearing the actual act happening and like overly, it's almost like ASMR stuff, like they're putting the microphone right, it's like, let's capture this as much as we can. Yeah, it's a little bit much, but anyway, so overall thumbs up for sure. I mean, there's plenty of good stuff to keep me coming back here. I will say similar to what I said the last time, I can't listen to Big E in all circumstances. This is like my own private listening, like I can't, maybe if I had a couple buddies over and like somebody put it on and my kid wasn't around, totally fine, but it does lose a little bit because there's some stuff on here you just can't play a whole lot, but in front of others or at work or whatever. But yeah, man, he clearly talented guy, and I guess I'm fine with him. Let me just put a bunch of stuff on a record. It's just hard to get through in one listen for sure. So but thumbs up. It's overall very solid.
Yeah, this album, I have always felt the first disc is considerably stronger than the second disc. That's always been my take on this album. The first disc is just a lot of greatness, from the beginning to Somebody's Gotta Die and to Hypnotize. Fucking You Tonight is one of the best rap / singer. I mean, fuck, R. Kelly knows how to sing a goddamn hook. It came on, I'm like, I forgot how much I love this song, and I really wish I didn't, but it's good. The Locks were solid on Last Day. It's not Jay-Z's best, but he kind of brings a secondary role to that, and Angela Winbush sings a great hook on that. Mo Money, Mo Problems is exactly...
I Love the Dough. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mo Money, Mo Problems is, a song that was omnipresent in the world forever, yes. I feel like, at one point. Even more so than Hypnotize in some ways. They both were all the time, there. Then the second one starts off with Notorious Thugs, where it's like, what if Biggie decides, I want to be the newest member of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and does it somehow extremely well, even though it's nothing like his real flow, which is pretty fucking remarkable when you think about it. But that song just goes hard, is like what I would say about that. It just is awesome. And Miss You's good. Another, what would you do? Like, I start laughing. And going back to Cali. So it goes strong. 10 Crack Commandments has a really good beat. But yeah, then it's like he's playing around with, Play a Hater, which is like a joke track, and Nasty Boy, which is, it's like a little there. There's the bringing in Too Short and I always like a little bit of Too Short in my life, but Puffy's part in that is really not necessary. Not just because he's Puffy, but because he's just not a good rapper. He's a curator. He's a curator, but I do not need to hear him on the track for any more than... like, or, that's really like where he's at his best, or like a little spoken word, like MC. Mm-hmm. He kind of is better served, like kind of how Flava Flav is best served, like small little bits of him. But it does end with You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, which is a good track too. I don't know if any album ever needs to be an hour and 49 minutes. It's bloated. Once again, I could easily make a 16 song or 18 song album out of this, which is a much stronger album than, what you get of a 24 song album. I think the ideal, I was counting like what would I keep on this, and you could make a case for 16 tracks, I think, that would be just almost all killer, no filler in terms of what's going on. But there's so many singles on this. I mean, like Hypnotize, Fuck You Tonight, Mo Money, Mo Problems, Notorious Thugs. These Sky Is the Limit, right? These were all songs that were on the radio like all the time for a period of time. And Biggie's such a gifted wordsmith. There's ways that he can paint pictures that you're never sure how literal or how figurative he is, because there's always a little bit of chronicling stuff that's boasting in what he's doing, that it's hard to figure out what's real and what's not, because he does have some actual credibility, right? With this, there's the weird things where it's like that idea of like, cucking the guy, and robbing him, which I'm like, I don't get that impulse. It sort of seems beneath him at times, where I'm like, I don't know what this is trying to get across. But then I forget he's like 24 when he's doing this album. So there's still a lot of career that would have come. He really was cut down like right as he was hitting his prime. But whether it be the flow, whether it be how he puts lyrics together, how he's one of the best referential rappers there are too, in terms of bringing in like brand names or historical events or pop culture type stuff to bring in. He's fantastic at that. He also has really clever rhyme schemes where he finds words that have off rhyme that rhyme together. I was joking earlier with Josh that he also has like go-to words that he likes to go to, some of which are made up words. You know, he even says on this, he's like, I'm the guy that said you went from ashy to classy, which is always a funny line there. But like, he just, I counted the word like semen like 16 times with various different rhymes. And I'm like, it's really a crutch right there. You know, I will say that the best version of it was when he described someone as fiending for semen, which made me laugh along the way. So, but yeah, this is one of the, even with some of those things that are excessive on this is still one of the best rap albums. If you take it as a 16-track rap album, there was in the 90s. And I maybe this will be blasphemous for some, but I think this is a stronger album, both in its totality and as a 16-track disc than the Tupac album was. And I always put these two together, not just because of Biggie and Tupac, because they were released at around the same time, so they were in the ecosystem. The Tupac one came out in 96 and the Biggie one came out in 97, but it felt like they were the same album, just released a year apart, if that makes sense, in terms of like the artistic vision that they were going for. So in that they released and then the person was dead shortly after, or in Biggie's case, like slightly before this came out. So kind of essential listening if you're into hip hop in the 90s. And if you're gonna want to get like all of what Biggie is, while Ready to Die is kind of the one that gets the pub and it's grittier, I do think this one, for someone who's not like a hardcore, you know, hip hop head and stuff, is probably the better place to start, because he gives you a little bit of all the things that he can do on this one. So, yep, comfortable thumbs up on this one.
Yeah, it's I think it does succeed for him, his attempt to try and become more accessible. I think he's dabbling in kind of different sounds. I think to Matt's point, like, you know, he's rapping but adding 112 as like the R&B hook, so it's like combining things. You know, he's got a little bit more commerciality on this.
Can I add one last thing I forgot to say, Josh? This is also the best use of the Diddy formula of beats. I feel like in other ones it feels a little bit hackneyed or shoehorned in, but I don't know if it's just because Biggie has command as a lyricist, but the beats on this album that he picks and his formula like really works best in this format and doesn't seem as gimmicky on this album. Yeah. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
I think it's interesting that the opening track, the intro, picks up right after the last track of the previous album. That's an interesting continuity, kind of like storyline aspect to his, you know, mythos or the character of Notorious B.I.G. through these albums. You know, it is a double album. I kind of give it a pass because there's no other Notorious B.I.G., so you could easily break it up in terms of listening, and we have what we have in terms of official releases that he worked on. So I think there are too many tracks, but it's not that big a deal. I like the use of the guest artists on various tracks are effective in comparison to him. His ability to rap against or with anybody seemingly is like a great talent, and he elevates the other artist and he complements them as well. I think that's a real strength to this. You know, he's dabbling in different kind of sounds too. There's kind of big, you know, big hooky like songs like Mo Money Mo Problems, but then like you guys were saying, another is more of a love song, or he going back to Cali, you know, it's like explicitly G-funk, like trying to make a G-funk song. And
is another a love song or is it a sex song?
Well, it's a sex song, but
yes.
You know, this album continues kind of the mafioso rap, crime rap genre. 10 Crack Commandments would be an example of that, along with many other songs on this. But you know, at the end of the day, it's always his rapping ability and his lyrical ability that it is the appeal for me. When you really like pay attention to his lyrics, I find I get a lot of reward out of them and humor. To John's point, he said something, I was listening to this again today before and he was like, I have more rides than Great Adventure, which I thought was hilarious, referencing the theme park. And so there's things like that dabbled throughout in terms of his pop culture, influence, and just the way, like John said, the way he rhymes and his ability to rap about different things. All kind of in the same umbrella of, crime and being famous or infamous and all that, but it's still entertaining. So yeah, this is I saw a lot of like reviews of like, this is like one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, and like I don't know if that was just at the time because he was dead and people were like having strong reactions to it. I don't know if this is like one of the best rap albums of all time, but I do really enjoy it. I think it's solid. I think it's a good companion piece to Ready to Die, and we don't get any other Notorious B.I.G. So let's enjoy what we have. So it's a thumbs up from me, and there's really something for everyone on this album in terms of rap fans and casual rap fans. So thumbs up.
You know what I'm amazed by? I'm just looking through this on Wikipedia, and this isn't the only album we've covered that's had this, but some of these albums, with every song, it's like a different group of producers. Like, so like normally, like, you're used to doing albums like this person did the production of the entire record. And there's like, for some of these records, like there's just, I just wonder, I'm just curious as to how that comes about. Like, you just happen to be in a studio, my guess is one, maybe you're recording in multiple studios, but how do you decide who produces what song, and what combinations of people? It's,
right.
I find that kind of interesting, because if you look at this, it's all over the place. Every song is different with different. RZA's on this. RZA produced a track on this. It's like, really? Like, I didn't even, yeah. So I just pointed that out. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah, I think in terms of that, I think they bring the, in RZA's instance, he probably brings, or Biggie says, I want a track by RZA, and like he brings the beat, and so he gets the production credit because Biggie raps over it. So, all these, there's a lot of heavy hitters in terms of rap producers on here. And so I think they all bring, and that carries through, there's, I don't know as much about rap now currently, but there's still big producers that people want to work with. And I think that just carries over. It's like,
it starts from a desire to like, I want to work with that guy.
I think that's true even for somebody like Taylor Swift or any artist. I think if there's people that either work well with together or are famous for making hits, like you want to work with them.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's just interesting that it's like, I want to do this person, that person, like, and all in the same record. You have like, probably like 20 different variations of producers on a 26-track album. So
yeah.
I will also say that the song Playa Hater got stuck in my head more than any other track on this, which I did not love the fact that was, but it, just I was hearing like Playa, that was the warble off tune, like in my head.
That was the other song he was singing. Yeah, that was the other. Playa.
Well, and that's and while I am not like the greatest singer in the world, that warbling singing was me doing what I heard on that, not me not being able to hit a note. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you all. Yes. You've been too kind. Thank you. Thank you very much.
that was funny, I have to say.
Yeah, that song could have ended the album, but nope. They let's do 6 more. But yeah.